strike just comes off a Saudi man. And Salem just couldn't quite find the shot to go through on this near side. But it's a good run. And I will have to differentiate between the two. Al-Dasari's in the lineup. Nasser wearing number 6. Salem wearing number 10. They both play for Al Hilal. Salem's been known as the Saudi Messi, the Argentina slayer of 2022. He's still the player they look for when the game tightens. 26 goals in 108 appearances for the national team. Joint tape scorers. Again, Yamal just dinks the ball with that trusty left boot, looking for a Spanish player at the far side of the box. It's broken though towards Cucurella on the edge of the penalty area. Now on the far left corner. Cucurella continues his run into the box, but good defending. And it comes off the Saudi man last at the back, Kaibari. He's one of the midfielders sitting in front of that back line, working himself back to try and help out. And it comes off him last for Spain's second corner in the opening 8 minutes, and they will look to put a little bit of pressure on Alois in the goal, the 34-year-old goalkeeper. The game we'll keep talking about is that Argentina game, despite the fact that Argentina went to win it. This time it's played long towards the far side, and then the volley comes in, and it was an excellently worked corner on that occasion from Spain. It was a beautiful ball towards Dani Olmo. He's got 12 goals for the national team. He left Barcelona to Zagreb at the age of 17. He's a number 10 by instinct. But he can be useful almost everywhere, and just tried to flash one from the edge of the box. We've seen that a number of times from him and top quality players at this level. Spain win a free kick just inside their own half. Rodri was being pushed in the back, but Spain continuing to dominate inside the opening 10 minutes, 85% possession they've had, but it is the Saudi fans who are trying to get behind their team the most in the stands here. Saudi Arabia with just one win in their last 8 games, including friendly games. It's again down the left-hand side for Spain. Just hacked away inside the box from Nasser towards the left-hand side. Picked up by Pedro. Pushes it towards the right-hand side to bring Pedro Porro into the game, and he just continues it straight towards Lamau. Lays it back off towards Porro, who goes for goal, and once again over the top of the bar. And Spain just having testers from the edge of the area. Can't quite keep them down, but they are getting some early sighters on goal. But still nothing to do for the goalkeeper. Alois from the 5 shots that Spain have had in the early stages of this contest. Spain themselves, they've been excellent. They weren't really one of the ones who were expected to go and light it up. And then Lamine Yamal came out of nowhere before the season, before the Euros, and all of a sudden, belief came back, and they ended up winning as it comes back across. And there is the man you're talking about at the back post. And it's Lamine Yamal. Spain forced the door open, and Lamine Yamal has got La Roca rocking. They find their rhythm early on, and you cannot say it hasn't been coming. It was a beautiful ball down the left-hand side. We said he found his groove that helped them win the Euros. Well, he's found his groove inside the opening 11 minutes, and he's opening the scoring as well for Spain. From Cape Verde frustration to early Saudi punishment, it's the spark that De La Fuente needed, and Spain have the lead. It's Spain 1, Saudi Arabia 0. And what a lovely goal that is. They've had a few sighters from the edge of the area, but this time it was just steady, worked play to the left-hand side. The overlap came, the space opened up. A beautiful ball in towards Bainer, who just put it into that corridor of uncertainty. Sorry, it was Oyarzabal, put it into that corridor of uncertainty. The keeper nowhere near it. The defence nowhere near it. And sliding in at the back post is Lamine Yamal, and he is back in the game and back scoring for the national team. And it's the dream start. They wouldn't have asked for more, the European champions. They want to ensure that the final game against Uruguay Here's one that has a lot less pressure on it. They want to win the group. They want to avoid difficult ties against sides that will win their group stages. To Spain, and when it is all down to head-to-head in this tournament, which personally not a big fan of. We've already seen a few sides that can't be touched at the top of the groups despite being within points tallies of teams around them, and Mexico, USA and Germany could all still technically be caught if it was based on goal difference. Maybe less so Germany after their 7-1 win. But then the likes of Haiti, Turkey and Tunisia, who look to be getting the wooden spoon, are all out of the competition so far. But had it been the same format as 2022, they may have still had some believers. Lamine Yamal picks it up on the edge of the area, feeds it through, and Spain looking for two. But it's good keeping from Alois, and then it just comes back out to the edge of the area. Dani Olmo just having a strike high and wide over the top of the crossbar. But once again, Saudi Arabia just causing himself a little bit of trouble on the edge of their own penalty area. Lamine Yamal trying to capitalise. It was just lost by Kebari. Yamal unselfishly tried to feed it in to the left-hand side. And then it came back out towards Dani Olmo, who couldn't quite keep his shot down. But Spain, unbeaten since they lost in the Nations League final on penalties to Portugal almost a year ago, or over a year ago now. Since then, they've won 7 and drawn 4. Unbeaten since that moment. Excellent form coming into this. They beat Peru 3-1 in one of the warm-up games. They drew with Iraq, which did ask a couple of questions of the side. They also drew to 10-man Egypt back in March after a 3-0 win to Serbia. They also hadn't played the finalissima against Argentina. The tournament of the various winners of the other competitions, because they couldn't agree where it was going to be played, so they just cancelled it entirely. But the one thing that's not going to cancel Spain today is this Saudi Arabia defence, or at least not for the time being. But it's 15 minutes gone, Spain leading through that Yamal goal. Inside the opening 10 minutes, a lovely little finish at the back post, and is controlling the ball, controlling the game. And it comes over to the left-hand side once again as it's coming towards the right-hand side, and it's just trying to looking for the far corner. It was Benya, who's had a couple of sighters from the edge of the area, just trying to test himself once more. Just tucked it onto his right. Well, once again, going well over the top of the bar. Saudi Arabia, they still win themselves a throw in halfway inside their own half, and they'll be relieved just to have a little bit of a breather. It's what you don't get too many times whilst the game is flowing, at least. We won't talk too much about the hydration breaks and fans' opinions of the hydration breaks. We certainly enjoy the 5-second rule that the referees now have in this competition. We're well over the halfway stage of the group stage now. They're coming thick and fast in the final round of the group games. All sides in the same competing group will play at the same time. I can't quite remember the game that brought that in. I think it was in Austria, to do with Austria. I think it was Austria and somebody, it might have been Austria and Hungary, both played out a draw because they both knew that they would go through, and that had to change the rules. You see it over time how the rules do change as Lamine Yamal just puts a cross in from this near side, but it's just too close to the keeper. Meat and drink for Alois, but he's now going to get down to his right-hand side from another good effort from the edge of the box, and this time it was Oyarzabal testing his sights from range, and Alois has plenty to do. We saw it in the game last night with the Curaçao keeper making so many saves. 15 saves he made last night to give his side their first ever point in this major competition. 17 minutes gone in this game. Remember, you can watch the games via your local broadcaster, wherever that may be. As Dani Olmo breaks free, and it looks like he was fouled halfway inside the Saudi half, but the referee, the Brazilian, just waves it away. It's with Saudi Arabia on the far side. Looked like it may have gone out as well, but the linesman disagrees. Trying to work it towards his left-hand side and can't quite find the room, and they have to go back to Nassar inside his own half. But Saudi Arabia just trying to keep hold of the ball and just set their own tempo for the time being. They've been under plenty of pressure. The Mexican wave has already started. It can't be that boring from the fans inside the ground, particularly if you are Spanish. They've controlled this game. They've had plenty of shots. It's certainly not been a boring start to the contest whatsoever. Saudi Arabia will need to try and find a goal. But down the left-hand side, Spain come once again. And then the cross back towards across the 6-yard box from Oyarzabal. This time goes wanting. Nobody there in a red shirt. He was looking again for Yamal, who I don't think he expected the Real Sociedad frontman to win that ball, but he stretched his legs. Did Spain's Euro final hero. He missed Qatar through injury. And now he's arrived with those big size 12 boots. And already has an assist to his name in this game as a free kick. Oh, it's not a free kick, it's going to be a goal kick to Saudi Arabia. It looked like a shove in the back, but we have seen the referees be a little bit more lenient on those tackles where defenders get themselves between man and ball. And as soon as they feel a touch, they just throw themselves down, which it has been great to see. There's been a couple of questionable decisions across the tournament, but nothing more major than the Lionel Messi potential red card, which personally, I think it was a clear cut and dry red card for the Maestro. As much as I do love Lionel Messi, I love watching him his entire career. Even though I am an Englishman, I always like to see him do well, but on that occasion you had to really question the officiating, how it didn't even go to VAR. Whilst the VAR on this occasion this evening is manned by Nicolas Barragan. The linesman supporting Rafael Clauses, Danilo Manis and Rodrigo Correa. And fourth official, Andres Nogueira, as Spain once again come down the left-hand side and try to feed it through, but Saudi Arabia defence is back there, but all they can do is put it out for another corner kick to those in red, and it came from their own throw-in. It was lazy. They were closed down quickly. It fell in towards Oyarzabal, who just raced in towards the area. It was an excellent sliding tackle in the end from Lajami, the 30-year-old Al Hilal defender. His switch from Al Nassr to Al Hilal caused quite a stir in Saudi Arabia. But they value the defender who can bring the ball out, and on that occasion doing the defensive work as well. As the corner comes to near post, flick back on towards the edge of the area. Dani Olmo has a strike for it. Not quite found its man, but still falls down, and it's tucked away. And Spain have a 2-0 lead. And Oyarzabal goes from provider to goal scorer. And Spain double their advantage 21 minutes into this game. It's Spain 2, Saudi Arabia 1. And this time the set piece worked from the far side. It was Oyarzabal who got the flick on. It caused all sorts of trouble inside the area. Saudi Arabia couldn't clear it. Dani Olmo's strike from the right-hand side of the box was hit really poorly, but it managed to squirm and squeeze its way through to Mikel Oyarzabal, who just tucks it in with his left boot into the opposite side of the box. He was offside from the initial shot from Olmo. But then the header and the knockdown, I think, from Laporte last. And he's kept himself onside. And then just tucked it in towards the far corner. And Spain, who want revenge after that Cape Verde draw, are getting it this evening and lead now in a comfortable position by 2-0. And the Spanish fans certainly couldn't ask for more. The referee just waiting for a VAR check to go through, and it has been checked, and Spain have been given the goal. The favourites have found their voice here in Georgia. And Oyarzabal is causing the Saudis a world of trouble. And when we're halfway inside the first half, as soon as that goal goes in, you do wonder why the referee doesn't just bring the players over for that hydration break rather than restarting it and setting and then having a hydration break in about 30 seconds time after kick-off. But Spain could potentially add a third beforehand, and maybe that might be the justification for it. Yamal down the right-hand side with the right boot, just tries to whip it across, but it goes over the top of everyone, but chasing it down over on the far side is Benya. Cuts back onto his right, feeds it kindly across towards Pedro Porro. Has enough time to try and pick out Cucurella on the far side. Back in towards Almo. And then it is tucked away. And Oyarzabal has his second. And Spain have their third. And it's turning into an absolute riot inside this first half. And nothing is stopping Oyarzabal from squeezing it in from the 6-yard box. Saudi Arabia cannot live with this Spanish side. And they set out before this competition as the favourites. Questions were asked of this Spanish side after the Cape Verde draw. But those questions are going answered in this game. It's Spain 3, Saudi Arabia 0. But Saudi Arabia poor at the back. Way too much time. Giving too much space. Not allowing, I should say, Spain to have the freedom of the ball and of the box. The ball came towards Pedro Porro on the edge of the area. 4 players refused to close him down. He just whipped it into the far side of the box. Cucurella's knocked down towards Dani Olmo. It was then flicked on towards Oyarzabal, who just peeled off his man. Kept on side by Lajami, who was the last man back for the Saudis. And just tucks it in from 2 yards out and has his second in the space of 2 minutes. And Spain leading comfortably now by 3-0. And I guess they put me into place about why you don't have the hydration break straight after that second goal. The game restarted. And now we will have the hydration break on the pitch. But Spain have punished Saudi Arabia inside the opening 25 minutes of this game. What a start it is for the European champions here. They needed to get their first win on the board. The side making their 17th finals appearance, winners back in 2010 when they also won the Euros either side of that competition as well. They were knocked out in the group stage in 2014. They were knocked out in the round of 16 in the 2 tournaments before this one in 2018 and 2022. But now they would love to go one further than that. Second in the world rankings. They've never been below 25th. Whereas for Saudi Arabia, this is their 7th finals appearance. Their best was a round of 16 back in 1994. That's looking increasingly unlikely with this result. They aren't out of it, even if they lose in this game. 3 points should just about get a few sides over the line. There's 8 of the 12 third-place teams will go through to the round of 32. The first time that will be in this major competition. They've gone out in the group stage in every other iteration of this tournament, bar that 1994 round of 16. They had 12 years without making it between 2006 and 2018. Saudi Arabia, currently ranked 61st in the world. They were 21st at one point, and their worst 126th. But Spain doing what Spain seem to always do. I say seem to always do against Saudi Arabia. They do always do against Saudi Arabia, and that is win. The only previous tournament meeting came in that 2006 competition in Germany. Spain winning 1-0 with that Juanito goal. The last time they did meet, Spain won 5-0 in a friendly in 2012. And they are on course to do just that again. Saudi Arabia might have one of the great World Cup upsets on their CV, despite the great tournament upsets on their CV, but even though Argentina did go on to win the competition, and when Spain lost in their opening game in 2010, they also went on to win. So it's not always how you start in these tournaments, it is how you finish. And we're back underway in the 28th minute of this game as Spain once again back on the ball, just trying to feed it through is Lamine Yamal, looking for Dani Olmo, but intercepted this time by Saudi Arabia. And Georgios Donis, the Saudi manager, just surely asked his players to just try and settle themselves down, keep their shape, and close down this Spanish side as much as they can. And that is always easier to say than do for any side in the world, never mind a side 61st in the world rankings. And so here comes Spain once again, opening up down that left-hand side. Plenty of their balls have come from that left channel, and once again, just trying to whip it in towards the box. Cucurella continues his run, but this time it's an excellent decision-making from Abdul Hamid, who just sticks out that right boot and just intercepts the ball, but can only clear it as far as Rodri. Everyone back on the edge of their own area. Still for Saudi Arabia. Dani Olmo just trying to squeeze it through. Tackles come flying in from Saudi Arabia, but just lose the ball again. And now Yamal goes back onto his right, and this time tried to go alone, but that goes closer to the corner flag than it goes to the goal. But taking a challenge on the way through is Pedro Porro, just asking questions of the referee. Half an hour into this game, and the referee is going to bring out a yellow card for the challenge and will bring it back. And it is Salem, the man who goes into the referee's book for that challenge earlier on. It then went out towards Lamine Yamal, who had a strike on goal. And the Saudi captain, the first to be punished by the Brazilian referee, which is certainly a league that has plenty of cards and bookings. You have to be a pretty fierce referee to take charge of games over in Serie A in Brazil. Cruzeiro and Atletico Mineiro had 23 red cards in one of their earlier games this season. In the second game, they had 3 red cards in that one as well. You want to see what happened in that 23-man red card fest? It's better to go and watch the highlights at the end of the game. Pure chaos. And the referee pretty much sending everybody off, including plenty of players on the bench as well. But I don't think we'll see too much of that between these two sides. We're hoping for a little bit of fight, though, from Saudi Arabia as this game goes on. We're just over a third of the way through. this contest. The La Fuente side are repairing the damage that was done by Cape Verde. Uruguay will be looking on. They'll be expected to pull out of a result there, as Cucurella has a heavy touch and almost gives the ball away, but recovered by Rodri. His second touch is a loose one as well, and it's then picked up by Saudi Arabia, just creeping inside the Spain half for one of the very limited times they have done, but immediately retreat back towards their goalkeeper, Alois, inside his own penalty area. We saw some excellent results yesterday in this competition. Japan with the late win against Tunisia, 4-0. I should say late in the evening win. It certainly wasn't a late win. 4-0 against Tunisia, who will likely have the wooden spoon in this competition unless they can pick up a point in their final game. Ecuador couldn't get past the Curacao wonder keeper. They did draw 8 times 0-0 in the qualification, did Ecuador, and it looked like they were going to do that as well against the Ivory Coast, before being punished late on there. Germany getting a 2-1 win, a very, very late win from Denise Undav, the Stuttgart man, to breathe a sigh of relief for the Germans. And we also saw Netherlands smash Sweden 5-1 after they also won 5-1 in their opening game, as well as Lamine Yamal trying to dance his way towards a byline on this near right-hand side, but just runs into a little bit of traffic in Saudi Arabia to clear the lines. 12 minutes to go before half-time, and since that break, Saudi Arabia just trying to get themselves on the ball a little bit more. Getting inside the Spain half now, but it can't quite be back-heeled through behind the back of the Spain line, but Saudi Arabia still trying to make their way forward. As Al Harbi, who just surrounded by 4, just tried a little bit of trickery to feed it in towards Salem up front. And you probably also shouldn't forget about Paraguay's 1-0 win against Turkey as well. 10 men after Almiron was sent off for covering his mouth in a confrontational situation, which is excellent to see. The rules that are being applied, I'd like to see the 5-second rule, and that rule brought in. I certainly don't want to see the hydration rates coming after this competition. On the edge of the area is Pedro Porro towards Lamine Yamal on the right-hand corner. Tries to then dart his way down the right-hand side and decides to come back with Pedro Porro still on the ball. Now he darts again and Porro finds the pass, but he's crowded out by 2 this occasion and has to work it back in towards Kubasi, the Barcelona man, who hasn't had too much to do in this opening half, but now finds a nice ball through, but the referee says the ball's been won by Saudi Arabia, who are going to try and score from 70 yards. Trying to catch Unai Simon off his line. Was Al Amri, the man who scored in the last game against Uruguay. And I think that could be classed as the first shot. Not sure it was on target, but the keeper's giving it away, and it's off the top of the crossbar for Oyarzábal, looking for a first half hat-trick. And Alois just getting himself in an absolute muddle inside their own penalty area. It was poor from Kaibari. He got a touch onto it, almost took it out for a corner kick. Alois tried to pass his way out of his own box, gave it straight towards Oyarzábal, who just tried to chip it over the top of the goalkeeper. He beat the keeper, scrambling back to his goal line, but it just bounces off the top of the crossbar. And he almost had an absolute stunner of a first half. He's had an excellent first half as it is, with 2 goals and an assist. There's again on the left-hand side a shot from Rodri on this occasion, forces Alois into a save, and his gloves must be stinging from the action inside this first half. 13 shots Spain have had, looking for a 14th with Limal, and he does go for goal, but he can't quite curl it back around. But they're forcing the keeper into a couple of saves. He's made 2 good saves in the game. Alois. He's picked the ball out of the back of his net on 3 occasions. And the rest of the shots going well wide of the goal from Spain. But they're running absolute riot. Saudi Arabia looks to try and get behind the back line. But good work from Unai Simon, who has to be on his toes. He hasn't had much to do. He certainly has been trying to keep himself warm away to the left-hand side. The trusted number 1. The Nations League penalty hero. The Euro winner. He's still the man to keep the shift between the sticks for the national side, and his 60th appearance for Spain for the 29-year-old. As Spain have the ball inside their own half, an unusual sight in this game so far. Now they're quickly, though, inside the Saudi Arabia half. They've had 72% of the possession, which I should add is still more than Arsenal had against Paris Saint-Germain in the Champions League final a couple of weeks ago. It's always a fun fact as Dani Olmo tries to break his way through a last-ditch tackle. Back out towards Yamal on this right-hand side. Can't quite get the ball out of his feet. Tucks it nicely, though, back in towards Pedri. Has 3 Saudi players in front of him. Dani Olmo to his left-hand side. Finds Olmo, who comes back out to this near side towards Yamal. Plays it in towards the right-hand channel towards Pedro Porro. Just playing the triangles between themselves here, Spain, and just trying to work it behind the Saudi Arabian defence. Can't quite find a way through on that occasion. Rodri then decides to shift it towards the left-hand side and towards Cucurella. Continues it over towards Benya. Back in towards the middle. Towards Cucurella, Rodri, now over to Pedro Porro on this right-hand side. Coming back towards Lamine Yamal. Finds the runner down the right-hand side. Crossed in from Pedro Porro, but can't quite find anybody apart from Cucurella. A yard or so off the far touchline, level with the edge of the Saudi penalty area. Work back in towards Rodri. Tries to whip it towards the right-hand side, looking for Yamal once again, but the header down from Al-Harbi can only find Pedro Porro. 6.5 minutes to go inside what has been a comfortable first half for Spain as they look to try and add a 4th before the first half whistle. It's certainly been the most emphatic first half we've seen from any side in this competition. We've seen some good performances in second half, particularly from Germany, as Cucurella trying to race and get hold of the ball. Certainly sure he will be far happier now that he has left Chelsea and joined Real Madrid in what will be a very interesting season. Now Jose Mourinho has found his way back. There's been plenty of talk about Vinny Jr., Mbappe, the split between the side. You're going to have a man that can control that. Jose Mourinho is certainly one of the managers to do that. He asked for full control of the players and the starting lineup, and he will have an impact one way or the other. And Dani Olmo almost having an impact down the middle moments ago. Another excellent tackle from Lejami, who has caused some problems on the back line, but he's also put some excellent last-ditch tackles in as well to keep the scoreline down. And earlier in this contest, it was the Saudi fans who were the loudest inside this ground. Well, they're all but quiet now. It's the Spanish fans really enjoying themselves. But Saudi Arabia win a free kick 10 yards inside the Spain half as Nasser, who's always been a big game player for Al Hilal, the sort that was already delivered in the Asian Champions League final. He won the 2025 Asian Player of the Year. A scorer in the last 2 competitions as well. Lucky to try and get inside the Spain's half at this point, but they are over on the right-hand side, looking to try and get a cross in towards the box. Almost works its way through. It took a deflection on the way in, and it had to stay alive. Kubasi out the back to get there ahead of the Saudi front man, Salem, who was racing in from the left-hand side, but Kubasi stuck with him. Had to be alive and intercepted and cleared the line. Spain now back inside the Saudi half once more. Halfway inside the Green Falcons half, who were hoping to stun Spain here in Atalanta. But it is them that has been stunned inside the first 45 minutes. Yamal on the ball again. Plenty of touches, Spain. Just gone over the 300 pass mark in this first half. Saudi Arabia, just the 104 themselves. It comes back to Oyarzábal, gets a second bite at the cherry, and it can't quite get his shot on target. Just drags it well wide of the keeper's left-hand post. And those size 12 boots causing all sorts of trouble in the Saudi back line. He had a first attempt that was seemingly blocked. In fact, it wasn't the first attempt. He hit the ball with his standing foot. It then came back off. Abdul Hamid fell kindly towards the Euros hero. And on that occasion, couldn't quite sweep it home from the left-hand side of the penalty area. But Saudi Arabia come with the ball down the left-hand side, just asking for runners, and there's just no space for them to work. They have won a throw-in. Excellently done by Al-Jawar, the Al-Qadisiyah man. 7 goals to his name across all competitions in the last season. Can make a game look easy, the young playmaker. He carried a lot of the weight in Saudi's qualification. And just trying to do some work on that left-hand side there. Saudi Arabia having a little bit more possession inside the Spain half. Level with the edge of the Spanish penalty area in the little ball through the back line. But what defending. That is over on the left-hand side by Benya. He's been doing it at one end, causing all sorts of trouble. This time, he puts in the sliding tackle that comes back off the Saudi man and wins his side a goal kick. And he fist pumps that just like he would if Spain had scored. They don't want to give anything up at the end of this first half and give Saudi Arabia a little bit of hope as a tackle goes in this time, and they will have a corner kick. Look, Kabasi was the last man coming in on the edge of his own penalty area, just sticks his foot out, but Saudi Arabia have their first opportunity to put a good ball into the box from a set piece. We said just before the start of the game that the majority of their chances will come from set pieces. And they have their first opportunity. 60 seconds before we find out how many minutes will be added on at the end of this first half. It normally is either 5 or 6 at the end of the first half throughout the competition so far. But it's taken short instead, and that is just an absolutely shocking corner kick from Saudi Arabia. And now here comes Lamine Yamal to try and counter, but he just gets his timing all wrong on his first touch, and then the hospital ball almost goes back towards the goalkeeper. And in the space of 30 seconds, both sides just making an absolute mess of it. It was Al-Jawar who decided to take the corner short towards the edge of the penalty area, in towards Salem. But his first touch was an absolute stinker and allowed Spain to clear their lines. And when you're 3-0 down against a side that sits second in the world rankings, the pre-tournament favourites, you have to just put the ball into the box in that situation. You have to test the keeper, test the defence. One mistake, and you can find yourself with a way back into the competition in the game. 5 minutes are being added on. Dani Olmo sends it towards the left-hand side, in towards Rodri. Continues it in towards Cucurella. Opens up the space on the left towards Benya. Brings it back onto his right-hand side. Towards the edge of the area, towards Rodri. And the Spanish captain can't quite keep his shot down. And puts it over the top of the bar. They're playing rugby Spain tonight. They would have had plenty of points for it going over the top of the bar. Well, they've also got plenty of goals to the name as well. Oyarzábal with 2 to his name. And an assist as well. Almo and Laporte with the assists inside the first half as well for Spain, who have still been putting plenty of pressure on this Saudi side, but they haven't added a goal to the name in the last 20 minutes 3 goals in the space of 13 minutes. Unlucky 13. Saudi Arabia inside this first 45-minute period. Spain with the ball again. Inside the Green Falcons half. Looking to just try and add an even more of a killer blow in stoppage time at the end of the first period. Pedro Porro with the ball. Knocks it down towards Yamal on the right-hand side. Back in towards Rodri once again. Tucks it back in towards Pedri, who has just been running riot alongside Rodri, who has the ball once more. Benya has Cucurella to his left-hand side. Decides to come back in towards Pedri instead. Finds Cucurella on the next attempt, and it comes off a Saudi man. From the cross, and out for another corner kick to Spain, who will look to try and apply a little bit more pressure. They scored from Rodri. Comes back out towards a halfway line. Lajami from Rodri. Comes back out towards a halfway line. Lajami. Spain again. Spain again. Down the left-hand side. To blow the whistle for half-time as the ball goes through from Alois all the way through. And that will be half-time here in Atlanta. And it's been an absolute riot from the European champions. Spain had plenty of questions to answer after the first game against Cape Verde, and they answered them almost immediately. Yamal, who's caused a world of trouble down this right-hand side, put it up to the back post, came in at the back post from the Oyarzabal cross. They finally found a way through rather than having attempts from the edge of the area 10 minutes into the game, and he was tucked in from Yamal, who's back inside the Spanish side. 12 minutes later, and it was 2-0, and it was poor from Saudi Arabia at the back. They failed to close down Pedro Porro, who just whipped it on in towards Oyarzabal, who just peeled off from the far side, whipped in towards Oyarzabal, flicked on towards the back post, wasn't dealt with once again, and then it came kindly back through to Oyarzabal on the left-hand side of the penalty area, and he just tucks it in with his left boot into the far corner of the goal. The final 20 minutes of the first half was all Spain, looking to try and add a fourth in this game. Alois in the goal got down to make a couple of saves, but Saudi Arabia just cannot live with this Spanish side. They're answering the questions that many were asking, and at half-time, it's Spain 3, Saudi Arabia 0, and Oyarzabal is having the time of his life.
Remember to check out FootMob's social channels on Facebook, Instagram, Twitter and TikTok. Thank you for listening to FootMob's audio commentary.
Soft as your nails, we're born easy. If love is a deal, I tried to move on, but the hours fold. Every corner of home tells a story you told. I keep the lamp low, keep your side warm. My hands still remember where you were born in my days. You
Yamal, the bar hat-trick, Mikel Oyarzabal. 2 inside that first half. 27 now in 55 internationals. Al Hamdan, the Al Nassr man. And also Al Hamdan, the 26-year-old man, plays for Al Nassr. His 51st appearance for the national team. He's the son of the goalkeeper who became a striker, still fighting for minutes, but useful for work rate and some aerial presence as well, which they certainly need at the back. They were needing. And for Saudi Arabia, well, they far right in half. Almira and Al-Harbi, the back five, the inverted fullbacks. Al-Dawari and Kano will be sitting just in front with Salem, Al-Hamdan and Al-Baraikan, the three that will go up top for Saudi Arabia in this second half. But the referee just halting the opportunity for Benga to get the ball into the box from the corner kick on the near side. 3 minutes gone then inside the second half, and thankfully nothing too exciting has happened to allow me to rack through those teams, the change and everything that's taken place. But it's come out towards Cucurella, and it's off the line, and it's gone into the back of the net. And it hadn't been too exciting for the opening 3 minutes of the second half, but 10 seconds later, and Spain have their fourth. They're running riot, and it's Real Madrid's new man at the far post. Benu with the corner, flicked on, went all the way through towards Cucurella, who dances in the far corner. The Saudi fans and players have their heads in their hands. The Spanish fans are enjoying this. It's Spain 4, Saudi Arabia 0, and it was as easy as you like. From the near, flicked on by a Saudi head at the near post, all the way to unmarked Cucurella at the far post. It was a fine save by the goalkeeper to get down low Alois, and then it looks like it's come back off Al-Tambakti for an own goal, as it's trickled then into the corner of the net. I couldn't quite see from the angle how it found its way into the corner, as it looked like the keeper had got the save. But it will go down as an own goal, and it goes from bad to worse. It was from Cucurella's strike, and Spain quickly try and get the ball forward, looking for a fifth immediately, but Alois this time a little bit more on his toes to get hold of that ball. The referee continues to be Rafael Klaus, assisted by Danilo Manis, Rodrigo Correa. Andreas Noguera is the fourth official, and Nicolas Barragan is the man in VAR who hasn't had too much to do, just a check on an Oyarzabal goal inside the first half. And Spain showing their world-class ability in this second round of this competition. They've had the star power inside the opening 45 minutes. It wasn't expected that Lamine Yamal would play the full 90. He said he was fit, he was ready, but he might not be able to make a full 90. And in the end, he didn't need to at all. They've got that threat. They've also got Nico Williams as well on the bench, ready to go, should they need to bring him on as well. Plenty of quality, plenty of talent in this Spanish side. Borja Iglesias, the Celta Vigo frontman with 18 goals in all competitions, yet to score for his national side, known as El Panda. He can give Spain the old school number 9 option. He's back to goal, holds it up, brings others in. Excellent when you want to have a player like that in a rugged game against a tough defence. Against a side like Saudi Arabia, it's as easy as you like just to play it over the back line. And when you see games like this, it also might put a little bit of a worry into other sides like Uruguay, who couldn't get through this team in the opening round of fixtures in this Group H. The other games to come, Group G, where everyone in that group as well, all coming in on 1 point. New Zealand, I think the stat is they haven't lost in a World Cup since 2006. I might be completely wrong with that. I saw a stat before the game that said that. I remember it was a save by Always, and on the second attempt again from Ferran Torres. This time it was Pedro Porro just getting himself behind the back line. It was a simple pass, through ball, 25 yards to make his decision about what he wanted to do, racing in towards the area, tried to go across the goalkeeper and forced him into a save, back out towards Ferran Torres, just bounced a little bit too high for him, and his header wasn't kept down. Also go this evening in the game after the Belgium-Iran game. And then New Zealand. Egypt is the last early in the morning, really anywhere unless you are in some oceanic countries, Australia. I think it's early morning there. Is in the Pacific countries. It's always been early morning and throughout the day. Well, also enjoyed their time. Australia slowly starting to see the benefit, even if they did lose to America. The USA, I should say. America, the continent, is different to the US of A. But they started to find themselves with a bit more competition after they moved from the oceanic region in competition to the Asian qualification processes. Putting up against some excellent opposition in the likes of Japan, who won 4-0 yesterday. Saudi Arabia tend to do relatively well. Where they just about squeeze through. Getting there ahead of Iraq on goals scored after they drew the game together 0-0. 3-2 win against Indonesia being the key difference. Iraq getting themselves through with that point ahead of the UAE to join Qatar, Japan, Australia, South Korea and others into this tournament. And Saudi Arabia just have not found an answer. Saudi Arabia wanted some friction. Spain wanted the rhythm, and that rhythm came out rather easily, like a fine tango. They say it takes two to tango. Well, Spain are doing this all on their own. Saudi Arabia with the ball just inside their own half, and the winner throwing over on the far side and able to just try and get the ball forward. Struggle to find any momentum whatsoever in this fine city of Atlanta, which hosted the night. It has the National Historical Park named after him in the Sweet Auburn area, not too far from the ground. It is, in fact, the busiest airport to be here at this competition. It's gone from an Olympic city to a football city, and he knows how to put the world through its front door. And it's Saudi Arabia who have almost invited Spain into their home unanswered. And Spain with a free kick 5 yards inside their own half as a late challenge just comes from Kano, just pulling down. Rodri inside the box. It was Albert. Raikan was also involved in the challenge, but it's going to be Kano, the man who will go into the referee's book. Just try to body check Rodri after the ball had already gone. And the Brazilian referee, Rafael Klaus, not too happy with that challenge. 15 minutes gone then inside this second half, and Saudi Arabia will line up another two substitutes on the near side, and Spain will also be bringing on Nico Williams as well. Coming off for Saudi Arabia is Al Amri, the man who scored in the last round. And also making his way off is Al Berkane. Al Berkane, apologies. The Al Hilal man that squeezed wide at the club level to accommodate Ivan Toney. Al Hiji, the man in well. He's a 4 for Spain. Is just look to rest now. their big talents. He used to be homesick as a kid, Alex Benya. He's transformed back for Nico Williams for his 32nd appearance for the national team. Dani Almo, the Arsenal man, his 45th appearance for the national side. The man with the famous Stuttgart corner flag celebration. It'll be a late side driving in towards the area. It almost fell kindly towards Nico Williams. It's still inside the box, flicked over towards the far side, but the referee's going to draw it back for a foul inside the box. Al-Baraikan was Mohamed Abdul Al-Shamat, the Al-Qasida. Were prepared to chase him. He rejected Al-Hilal. To stay at Al-Hilal went the entire season unbeaten. Line. Saw that on other occasions as well. Over in Europe, Benfica went unbeaten in the league as well. And in the English Premier League, of which was better? The answer was the treble. You can go unbeaten and not win the competition. Here at the Atlanta Stadium, home to the Atlanta Falcons NFL team, and Atlanta United MLS side can hold 75,000 in this closed roof stadium. Doesn't quite need the hydration breaks in this ground. It hosts the opening game of the Brazilian League on the world stage, and he has done since 2015. It's his second major tournament after Qatar in 2022. He's also worked in the Copa America and youth tournaments as well. He refereed the Copa America final, in fact, back in 2024. Officials certainly under the microscope with the changes that have been made. Under the microscope as well on this near side is Nico Williams, just 6 goals in his 31 appearances for the national side before this game. He's injury hit, but electric. He was one of the wide threats. Now he's making his own travels around the world, playing in competition. Every footballer wants to play, and he's on the ball down the left-hand side, just beats his man, tries to get it across the box, but Lajami is there. Of the afternoon, takes the corner short. Lays it in to the right-hand side towards Pina. Holds on to the ball, then lays it towards Pedri. Sends it towards the far side of the box, looking towards his midfield partner in Rodri, who's sitting in the middle. A bit of a reprieve for the... And with that, one of the sides that we will look at have the ability for their second tournament win. But they got off to an excellent start with that 4-2 win over Croatia. They already have a feeling of a team trying to turn some good colour as they try to move Southgate major finals football. And you could see by that Marcus Rashford goal at the end the difference in quality that they have, rather than sitting back on against a very good Ivory Coast side. Portugal were very lacklustre. The issues that Portugal not having to play at this level, the answer is probably not to Portugal's golden era that they are in now, and at the hands of Roberto Martinez. Golden generation. It's fabulous for club and country as well. He likes to set the tempo, and he has throughout this game, makes his way off. And the final change for Spain was training ground. He's gone from Betis roots to PSG and Spain's midfield. He brings quite a lot of elegance, timing, and that left-footed punch from range as well. As the hydration break is finally over. With 19 minutes left of this game, 19 minutes left of torture for Saudi Arabia to have to go through. Brazil and Ancelotti, their tournament already given us the familiar theatre expectations. Plenty of memes between the Endrick and Ancelotti. Probably some of the funniest things seen in football for quite some time. And those may say already confirmed for the round of 32 knockout stage. The co-host still alive, Mexico. Especially at the Azteca, only lost twice in 60 years at the Azteca. That was against Honduras and Costa Rica. Not the two sides you'd probably expect, but that certainly bodes well when they will potentially play, if they get to it, a quarter-final game at the Azteca. But it will be a game with many, many fans. The players certainly don't want it 21st, and that was that, really. That's all she wrote. Saudi Arabia just hack the ball away from the edge of their box, and all they can really do is clear their lines. As Group H was perfectly balanced before the start of this game. The questions will now go to Uruguay of how they can answer this Spanish side, who will be going through, that is for sure. And with 4 points, even if they were to somehow finish third, Uruguay, no, it can't. Ignore me. Trying to think on the spot while looking at the table. It certainly can't. With Uruguay and Cape Verde playing each other, only one of those can pick up 3 points. Or it could, it could. But any side finishing third on 4 points is certainly going to go through. 8 out of the 12 teams in third will make their way into the round of 32. And Spain, they're trying to cheer on their reception, but all it can do is force it out for another corner kick. Another throw-in, to Spain over on the far side. Like it might have gone out for a corner, but the line. And out for, as the ball. Oyarzabal is on his knees in the dugout. So far here in 2026, Oyarzabal did have chances inside that first half, but Saudi Arabia finds something here inside the Spain half for the first time in many, many a moment. Al Hamdan with the ball, brings it back towards Abdul Hamid. The space just being closed down as Spain start to work their way back into position, but it's still with Saudi Arabia on the ball, with Abdul Hamid once again, goes back towards his own half. A long ball from right to left, looking towards the far side, but intercepted ever so well by Pedro Porro, who's just dominated over on that far side of the pitch. They've just not had a sniff at all. He's been counter-attacking, supporting Lamine Yamal inside the first half. Hasn't had to do too much attacking inside the second half, but has had a shot or two in this game and forced a fine save from Alois 10 minutes into the second half. And it's Saudi Barcelona man, only 19 years of age, but already organising Barcelona's defence like he's been doing it for a decade. Won his second Liga. Do it as well for the national team, and it's what Spain certainly do have. So much young. Pedri at 23, Pedro Porre at 26, Peña at only 24. And as well, Gavi, 21. Couple of older players in there as well. It's on the pitch and place. Plenty of quality in this side, and even with their young age tonight. 10 minutes in to go in this game. Saudi Arabia allowed a little bit more possession from Spain as they work it towards this near right-hand side. It's very unlikely, unless they can get a win against Cape Verde in their last game. Can find that win. 1994. The other 5 tournaments prior to this one, they failed to make it to the Spain themselves, they've not gone beyond the last. It's their first shot on target. Al Hamdan broke his way into a central position. A 26-year-old Al Nassr striker trying to look for his 13th goal. Left-hand side, but it's the first shot on target that Saudi Arabia have had, just their 4th shot of the entire game that Spain have had down the left-hand side. He's got Cucurella for support. Will call the racing in straight behind him. He didn't have his hands on the back of Alatam. Nico Williams going alone, putting a ball into that dangerous position between the keeper and the defence. And then Pino just came. Green Falcons for the second time in the stands. I'll sort of understand it on this occasion. The Saudi Arabia win a free kick inside the Spain half as Cucurella just comes across. Fine. I think he's just trying to avoid his side conceding another rather than trying to find a way back. Well, there's not going to find a way back in, but trying to find a consolation goal, that's for sure. They have the ball again halfway inside their own half. Go back to the keeper, though. The keeper, though, of Alois, who's had the ball, the 34-year-old Alula. Goalkeeper more than anybody else on his 63rd appearance for the national side. He'll just get the ball into the box. We used to always see. Now it's the underdogs trying to pass it around. It's a lovely ball, though, towards the far right-hand side. Lovely little chest down on the near corner for Abdul Hamid. Tries to get a cross in towards the box, but it's dealt with in the end by Laporte, who just cleared it out towards this near side, 2 yards off the touchline in front of De La Fuente. Near side, 2 yards off the touchline in front of De La Fuente. Spain with 11 now behind the ball with 5 minutes to go. They want to preserve that clean sheet with a second clean sheet in a row in this competition. Last time they kept a clean sheet before, it's when they went back to back against Egypt and Serbia. Against 10-man Egypt, 0-0. When they beat Serbia before in this Spanish side. But Saudi Arabia trying to find something late on here, but it's knocked down and cleared away. Kukureya couldn't quite get his foot around it. In halfway line as Nico Williams comes across and wins the ball back once again. And sometimes it just doesn't look like Saudi Arabia really. And it was Al Shamat who has had a coming together with Al Hedji. They both went to win the ball. And Al Shamat has come off worse from it. Sorry, it was Kano who they're coming together with Al Hadji. And he's the one that's come off worse. 77th appearance for a little bit of bleeding. It looks like he'll have to change his shirt, and he's surprised if he's not going to be brought off the substitute. I'm going to give him a fresh shirt, which is at least allowing him to continue, but Khalid Al-Ghanam, the Al Ettifaq man, with making his 8th appearance for the national team, will make his way on. He was a late recall, earned by pure form. His goals, assists, pace, and a direct threat against tired Lakes. He scored 13 goals this season for Al Ettifaq in the Saudi Pro League, and he'll make his way on for Nasser Al Dosari, the Al Hilal man, who's had a real tough time. He has made his way off, but it's over on the far side. Again, just dink back in towards Pedro Porro. Comes back across and it's tucked away for 5. And Ferran Torres kept himself onside. The linesman over on the far side is having a look to say he's not quite sure if he was onside or not. They've given the goal for now. He'll be checked by VAR. But Ferran Torres has added a 5th for Spain as it stands. The rout is complete. And the substitute who came off the bench is hoping that he's got his first goal in this tournament. He scored twice in Qatar. Hopes that this is his first, but I think that will be ruled out for offside. If he'd left it for Nico Williams coming in behind, then it would have been given as a goal. And if it was a tighter scoreline, it may have been a little different in terms of the reaction from the fans in the stands. The referee still waiting for VAR to make a decision. The man in charge of VAR, it's his first real decision to make in the 92nd minute. Nicolas Barragan, the Brazilian. And it is certainly being checked, and not taking the time to make the decision. From initial looking, it did look like he was half a yard offside. Ball from Pedro Porro, was tucking it behind the back line where Jamie was stood still to hear if he needed to make that decision. But eventually he got the decision, and I think he got it right. Well, Ferran Torres is chasing down, as is Nico Williams, who I said moments ago, if he'd left it for him, Ferran Torres, it would have been 5. And it would have been an excellent victory for the Spanish here as Saudi Arabia tries to get the ball forward. It comes up Cucurella, and out comes Unai Simon just to put the ball into the stand. And out of play. So we'll see how much time will be added on at the end of these 6 minutes. The referee's kind to Saudi Arabia. He will just call it in 40 seconds when that 6 minutes is up. But if he wants to play to the letter of the law, then he'll have to play another 2 to 3 minutes as Rodri, inside his own box, just knocks it back with the head to his goalkeeper rather comfortably. That midfield in his 64th appearance for the national team does have 4 goals to his name, 2 this season as well for Manchester City, the 29-year-old who once went over 70 games without defeat for club and country, which was quite frankly an incredible record. Some did try to continue it, but it was a penalty defeat that he lost to. And then a few tried to move the goalposts and say, well, it was no competition anymore because you're out on penalties. National stage, the penalties mean you're out. Seen that in finals, seen it across tournaments. We're a minute over the 6 added on. The referee playing a little bit more time. Back out to get his head onto it on the far left-hand side of the penalty area. Jogging has won themselves. Cucurella forward with it. He'll just go back from left to right. And the runner comes in over on the far side from Fabian Ruiz. Backing towards the edge of the area. Pedro Porro with it.